What I'm presenting today is part of a grant that me and some of my students are here and are a part of the endeavor, so I will share the stage with them. So what we're looking at is part of a National Science Foundation grant, which is called the ALRISE Alliance. It's a national alliance, and pay attention, there might be a quiz on this later. ALRISE is the acronym, and it stands for Accelerate Latinx Representation in STEM Education with Institutional Intentionality and Capacity Building for Experiential Learning. So this is funded by the NSF Foundation. The primary institution is ASU, and of course, this is in collaboration with UC Santa Barbara. Now, the primary purpose of the grant, I have 3 bullet points here. It's a 5-year grant. We're in the middle of year 4 right now. It's a $10 million cooperative with the newly named Eddie Bernice Johnson NSF Includes Alliance, which is a national call for proposals out of NSF. And this is their wording, right? So we are building a framework for a networked improvement community that will systematically change higher education institutions to become student-serving towards broadening participation in STEM. Further, the Alliance aims to increase Latinx student retention, completion in STEM, and at 2- and 4-year institutions that are HSIs or emerging HSIs. Through culturally responsive, so this is the novel thing, through culturally responsive undergraduate research and work-based experiences, which we summarize as experiential learning opportunities. And we also seek to improve self-reported STEM identity for the students that are part of these experiential learning opportunities and engagement from the students. This is the mammoth that is the grant. At the highest peak, there was about 250 individuals around the nation that took part in, had a hand in many of these. Me and my team are in this little corner here. What I want to focus on today, okay, I can slow down a little bit. What I want to focus on today comes out of this group out here in the corner. We call it the HSI 3 team, which is the acronym HSI, Hispanic Serving Institutions, Identity and Intentionality. So the 3 I's, we just say HSI 3. The primary purpose of the grant is, in its intention, it was to train the trainers, train faculty members who do course undergraduate research experiences and provide workshops, training in order for them to embody a mindset shift that will then allow them to be culturally responsive towards Latinx STEM students. That was the intention of it. This framework, which was birthed out of the HSI 3 team, the 2 creators here, I'll give a shout out to Dr. Mara Lopez, who's now at the University of Arizona in HSI, and Janet Rocha, who right now works full-time at ASU for the Center for Broadening Participation. So in this framework, what they called the justice mindset, and again, I'll reiterate that this framework came out of their training. So the HSI 3 team was charged with creating professional development, workshops, trainings around how to train faculty, staff members to do culturally relevant experiential learning opportunities for Latinx STEM students. So in their work of holding workshops, of holding trainings, they came up with, we need to do a mindset shift. People need to change their mind around these elements. So they have to embody reflexivity, intentionality, asset-based framing. They need to bridge worlds, right? Boundary brokering. They have to be culturally responsive, and they have to underscore equity-mindedness. I'll do a little commercial here. This is coming out soon. It's a book chapter that sort of sets the groundwork as to how this emerged from this group. So what we wanted to do as research and evaluation team at UC Santa Barbara is, from the big map that I showed you of the whole structure of ALRISE, what we did is we wanted to tap on the leadership and see how they embodied, or not, the Semilla to Flor framework. And because we're also evaluators, we wanted to evaluate and see what the challenges were for creating these experiential learning opportunities. So again, these are all the different roles of the 13 leadership team members. So in our interview protocol for this targeted group, we wanted to do two things. We wanted to explore the Semilla tu Flor enactment of that framework, and then as evaluators, assess the slow progress of the creation of culturally relevant EL opportunities, because at the end of year 3, maybe 100 students were served. I'll leave that there. Fast forward, ARA. So we are presenting, and two of the students will be presenting at ARA. I'll be taking a back seat. The title is We Are Driving in Circles, Culturally Unresponsive Leadership for Equitable STEM Pathways through a Semilla tu Flor framework. There's the plug for the session on Friday afternoon. So what we had 13 individuals from multiple layers. What we wanted to zero in on was these coordinators of the regional hubs. So they're like the middle folks between what happens on campus and the leadership of the grant. So we interviewed 5 folks. These were our research questions. How was the Semilla tu Flor framework exemplified or obfuscated by the network improvement community from the perspective of the program support professionals? What barriers did they have to face in order to carry out the larger mission of the project and create these culturally relevant ELs for Latinx students? And then finally, how do their previous work, their identity, their skills, interplay with the intentionality around the grant, which is serving Latinx students? So I'm gonna do really quick, I got 2 minutes left, a slide for each finding. So intentionality, creating culturally relevant learning opportunities elevates the support from simply enrolling Latinx students in STEM to truly serving their needs. Here we have a quote from Crystal, and this is an example of how her own social capital and cultural capital was used in creating the space for students. She says, I have students who drop my office all the time. I don't even work with students anymore, but they tell me, like, I'm the reason, I'm there because you built a program where you brought these speakers to campus, or you hooked me up with my first internship. Like, those are the things that motivate me. Now this is Crystal saying, these are the things that motivate me for, what's to come for all of our students. The second research question, these are the barriers that we found. Structural challenges, the program coordinators being the middle people of, we have to answer to multiple folks. The physical distance, this is all online, right? In the era of COVID, post-COVID. Lack of direction from leadership, micromanagement, and of course, attacks on DEI, which were prevalent even before the latest 47th administration in place. So when referring to lack of direction, and this is where the title came from this interview, Riley says, I get frustrated when I'm told, here are the car keys, go run this errand. And then the car keys are taken away, and then she is questioned, why did you go there? That's not where you're supposed to be. The last one, I won't read all of it, but it's the alignment of the identity of the support professionals with serving Latinx students. There were 3 of the 5 were Latinx individuals, 1 was white, 1 was Filipina, and here, Princess Leia, self pseudonym given, she says, the reason why I love so much ALRISE is because I do identify myself as one of these students, as a 100% Latina, as being one of these students. So the experiences are pretty similar, and that's why I love about ALRISE, the cultural responsiveness. It was a piece that just calls dear to my heart. Whatever I can do for these students, I think about me doing it for my own daughters. So in conclusion, and my time's up, think about the role of program support professionals. They're essential because they're the middle folks a lot of times between grants and what students and faculty do within these campuses. The institutional challenges, we have to be cognizant of the structural leadership and political barriers that hinder this progress. We need to empower these professionals, institutionalize equity efforts, and the commitment to transformation. Serving truly the students requires structural change and not just symbolic gestures. And finally, the policies, practices, leadership must actively dismantle systemic equities to support Latinx student success. Thank you. More at ARA.